done, fold the paper in half, put it away for 3 days. I love what Bill is doing. Psychologically, I do things in threes. I have meetings at 8:45, 9:15, 9:05. You'll never hear me say 8:30, 9 o'clock, because I want you to remember. You're writing stuff down. How many of you ever cheated in school? Seriously. See, I love it, man. You're proud of it. But when you cheat in school, you know when you write things in real little, and they spend 3 hours, and they write things in small, and like, does this fit under my shoe? Does this fit under my watch? And you start even tiny, and the more times you write it, by the time you're really done, it's midnight, you're like, damn, I don't need this, I already know this one. Because you wrote it so many times. That's my meaning behind my madness. And if I ask you to scream your name, it's because I am losing my hearing and I want to make sure I hear it. But I really want you, we're all type A personalities, I want you to scream out your name. Because you should. Be proud of your name. Patrick always talks about leaving your legacy in your name. I believe that, and I also believe be proud of your name. Say your name loud. And don't try to Americanize it, just say your damn name the way it's supposed to be. You know, I had a guy that I worked with, his name was Guillermo Jaramillo. Guillermo means Bill in Spanish. And we used to work together, and he was a really nice guy, and one day I see him looking down, I go, Guillermo, what's the matter? I'm having trouble. I go, what do you mean you're having trouble? People who don't speak Spanish can't pronounce my name, and I'm getting upset about it, and I can't sell insurance. And I do, you know, his name was William, that's Guillermo in Spanish is William, you know. So we're having a beer, I go, when we're done, and then by the morning, by the time you're done with that beer in the morning, you're gonna know, we're gonna figure this out. The next morning we go on a call, I knock on the door, family opens the door, I said, hi, I'm Brandon Ortiz with Prudential, that's who I worked with at the time. This is getting, my name is Guillermo Jaramillo, but you can call me Bill. He figured it out, and he did that, and then he started making sales. And I'll talk about that in a minute too. I put a lot of things on the shelf, but I want to tell you, you're not alone. So let's go back. So we talked about the papelito, which you have in front of you. Everything is great. This papelito, the expectation is when you're done, we're going to remove the mask of the client, and we're going to show them that they need insurance. The challenge is, how do we get them to volunteer information? I want to be Patrick the interviewer, not Patrick the motivator. I studied martial arts for years, 30 years. And I have a broken finger, I have microsurgery, 32 stitches on my hands, I have scars all over myself. Which translation means I suck at it. I'm never gonna do it. However, I do it for my heart, and I stopped for 10 months because I hurt my back and this happened. So I'm getting back into it. But I will tell you that I learned one thing. If someone much larger than me comes after me, at least knock them over and get out of dodge before they get up again. So we have to learn how to use verbal judo. I have to figure out, how am I going to get Greg, who's a big guy, how am I going to get Greg to listen to me? Because right away, if he gets a hint that I'm trying to sell him something, he's going to shut me down. For example, Milan, if you leave here tonight and the phone starts ringing, and someone's trying to sell you something, and I want you to be real, what are you going to do?
Hang on.
Say it loud. What are you going to do?
To be honest with you, half the time it's a number that I don't know, I'm not answering.
So you're not even going to answer it. Well, what if you do answer? What are you going to do? What's your name again?
Lynn!
That's right. Yeah. Lynn, if someone's trying to sell you something on the phone, what are you going to do?
Sorry, I'm not interested.
I'm not interested. What are you going to do, Tyler? Probably not picking up or hanging up. You see, what happens is people are being sold something every day, and it's easy for them to say no. You start talking, and before you're even done, you get a hint of something, they're going to open up the medicine cabinet, boom, they're going to shut you down. So I will tell you that everyone in this room is a type A personality. If you can engage in a couple of minutes longer, you have a chance of getting information and getting them in your net. You know, they say half my family, cops, FBI agents, they're all my family. And when they get together, I don't want to hear the stories, but they tell me, especially the cops, you know, if people would just be nice to us when we pull them over. And it's true. Did you guys read the newspaper what happened last week about the priest that got pulled over in New York? It's pretty big. They hit the news everywhere. Cop pulls over a priest, and cop walks up to him and goes, what are you drinking? He goes, it's water, sir. He takes it. This isn't water, this is wine. He goes, it's a miracle. The thing is, you have to have the ability to engage in a couple of minutes more, and you'll be able to close the deal, and I'll show you how. You know, if I were to call Greg, for example, Greg, if I try to sell him something, boom, he's going to shut me down. Before I finish my sentence, open up the medicine cabinet, he's going to shut me right down. What if I give him something he doesn't expect? I want to give him the opposite. I want to do a little verbal judo. Greg, how much insurance do you have in your life?
Don't know.
That's good. Why do you have so much?
Because I want my wife taken care of.
That's good. But do you ever think maybe you have too much?
Maybe.
You know, What we do is I work for PHP, we help cut people's insurance in half, maybe they have too much insurance. I'm not saying, Bill, I'm saying that most people in the back of their mind, and I'm gonna prove this to you. If I would ask Aubrey how much insurance he's got, and he says 10,000, 100,000, doesn't matter, and I'll ask him, who's your insurance company? More than likely, he's gonna give me the name of the insurance company. And this is where I get him. Who's your agent? I don't know. Raquel, who do you have insurance with?
I don't have insurance.
Oh, really? You know what I do? I help, it takes 10 minutes, I have a questionnaire, we fill it out, and if anything, I leave it with you. Someday, when you decide to buy life insurance, at least you have the amount. I'll bring some donuts, make sure your husband's there, Robert, and then we'll sit down and go over it. See, my goal is not to sell them insurance, my goal is to get into the house. You ever watch the vampire movies?
Yeah.
You know, a vampire can't touch you unless you invite him in the house, right? They ain't getting the blood unless you invite them in. You don't invite them in, you're fine. You invite them in, the blood's mine. I got a pocket full of Band-Aids, I got my blood. But I gotta get in the house. My job is to get into the house. So I will do whatever it takes. I'll give you two examples. One is, I could try to cut your insurance. Why do you have? He tells me, Greg tells me I got $5,000. Why do you have so much? Maybe you don't need that much. Because in the back of their mind, especially husbands, women are smart. The husbands, they're thinking, man, you mean I could get rid of half of this? Damn, I could get that new car. I knew it. Now I could bring him in and we could convince my wife. I knew it was right all along. We don't need too much life insurance. You get my drift? I'm going to use reverse psychology to get in the house. In her case, she doesn't have any. I might use, let's at least get in. We'll set you up and you can figure it out later. But then the easy way is when I bring in new recruits. How many names do I have to write down?
100.
And I put it away for how long? Fold it up?
3 days.
Now this is what I do. After the third day rises coming, I open it up and I circle my family and my friends. And this is what I'm going to do with my family and my friends. Check this out. This is crazy. Lance is my brother. Now normally I will call up Lance and he's avoiding me like the plague. I used this earlier. He thinks I'm either trying to recruit him or sell him. He knows I'm working for this multi-level PHP marketing group. He's like, he's trying so hard to convince me to get out of this damn thing. He thinks I'm crazy. How much money are you supposed to have in the bank?
500,000. 24
I
months.
brought it up to him, he goes, dude, you're tripping, man. You're out of your mind. That's what he said to me on the phone. So his expectations is that I'm trying to sell him something, but I'm going to give him the opposite. Because like a deer in headlights, if I give him something he doesn't expect, instead of having that ability to open up the cabinet and shut me down, he's going to look at me like this. What are you talking about? So this is what I'm going to say to him. Remember, I called him up and his son, what's your name again? Greg. Come on, man. So Greg answers the phone. Hey, Uncle Brandon, hey, Dad's not here, but he's standing right next to me. And I get him on the phone, he hands him the phone, he's like, fool, what do you want? But he doesn't say that to me, he's thinking in his mind, you ain't recruited me and you're not going to sell me insurance. Hey, Brandon, how you doing, bro? I'm doing all right. You ain't recruited me. This was running through his mind. Hey, Lance, I need your help, man. I started working with the Cormans, they're crazy. They want me to present in front of a group and I'm scared to death. I don't know how to do that. What do you want me to do? Man, I want you and your wife, Milan, if you guys are there, I just need to practice. I trust you, man, and I want to practice for 10 minutes my presentation, and I want you to critique me afterwards because I trust how you are. And he's thinking in his head, so I'm going to critique you, all right? Yeah, when you want, Thursday or Sunday, what day is better for you, morning or afternoon? And I'll bring some donuts. I got Dunkin' Donuts, and I'll bring some coffee too. And he's going to go, oh, yeah, and he hangs up. Hey, Milan, what? Guess who's going to come over, man? We're finally going to get him. When he comes over, we got to bolt that door and get the spotlight and deprogram him. That's what his expectation is. His expectation is that I'm not trying to sell him. I'm not trying to recruit him or sell him. I'm there to practice, and he's going to critique me. That got me in the house. I'm the vampire. Now, his expectation is, well, I'm going to practice, and he's going to critique me. He's also thinking this is a good chance we can isolate him and deprogram him. She's laughing. She knows. They're going to bolt the door shut. They're going to put the spotlight and try to tell me to work at Walmart or get Uber or get something other than that damn PHP people helping Patrick thing. We're going to get him out of that thing. You see, that's what's running through his mind. My expectation is, sucker, I'm going to get him in there, and I got a pocket full of Band-Aids. I'm going to get my blood. You get my drift? I got to get in the house. My goal is to get into that house. My secondary goal is to try to get information. My third is to get them to convince them, let them convince themselves that they need insurance. Is it making sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but the first, I can't do anything unless I get in the house, and I have to be Patrick the interviewer. How Patrick asks those deliberate questions and he's deriving answers, that's my goal in that house. Do we have an extra Papelito? Do we have one?
Yes.
I just need, you got one. I got it. Thank you. Cool. You got one now?
Yeah, I got it.
You sure? Okay. So, This is what I do. This piece of paper has put stupid money in my pocket. This piece of paper has increased production across the country, PHP, about 46 to 47% in the past 8 months. Literally, I saw the numbers past year. I'm like, holy cow, this is crazy. This little piece of paper will help you recruit, help you put money in the recruit's pockets quickly, put money in your pockets quickly. I don't have 4 months to wait. I need to make money now, Lynn. So, okay, this is for you. But so what I'd like to do is practice with you. I'm going to ask you questions. How many of you don't have children? For those of you who don't have children, I want you to pretend you're going to have one. And I want you to be real, and I want you to answer honestly these questions. So this is what I do. My brother Lance and his wife Milan, their expectations, I'm going to practice, they invite me in the house. I got a pocket full of Band-Aids. I have an objective. I want them to complete this as honestly as possible. That's my objective. So now I get in the house. I'm going to put them on one side because if I sit in between them, I don't have control. If I'm sitting like this in between them, man, they're together years. I'm going to focus on him. She's going like this. I'm focusing on him. She's going like this. I put him on one side. I control the entire situation. Now, if I see her kicking him, I'm making her for a second. I see her kicking him. He's going to kill me later.
I knew it.
But if I see that happening, I can control the situation. So I always want to put them on one side. I hand them each a little papelito and we start banging these questions out. I am Patrick, the interviewer. Remember, their expectation is I'm just practicing and they're going to recruit, they're going to critique me. Make sense? So let's start from top to bottom. Have your calculators out, we're going to bang these out, okay? Ready? First question. How much did you make last year? Think about the amount of money you made last year. I want you to multiply it by 10 and put it right in there. Think about how much money you made last year, multiply it by 10 and put it in that little slot. You got an Apple charger?
I got you, sir.
You got one? Oh, you are the man.
Fast charge or a regular charge?
I got an ancient, I have the original iPhone. I don't know what this is, like a 1?
The iPhone one.
I know, my kids laugh at me all the time. Dad, that's out of control. But I have the new Droid. I don't like that. That thing's garbage. That's what they tell me.
The dark side.
Yeah. All right, so the second question. I want you to think about the more, thank you, sir. I'll give it back, I promise. So, if you're paying rent, I want you to take your monthly rent, multiply it by 12, and then I want you to multiply it by 5 years. If you're paying your monthly rent, take the monthly rent amount, times it by 12, and times it by 5 years. Why? Because it's going to take your spouse 5 years to recover without your income, at least. For those of you who own a mortgage, I want you to put your entire mortgage in that slot. So if you owe 400,000, 500,000, 50 grand, 2 million, I don't care what it is, put the amount that you owe right in that slot. I feel like a vampire, energy vampire right now. Cool. Yay. Take your monthly rent, multiply it by 12, we're annualizing it, then multiply it by 5 years, by 5. And when you're done, just look up. Outstanding debt. Think about all the bills that you owe. Every bill, credit cards, student loans, all the bills. And if you had to pay them all at once, put down that amount. And if you have any store credit cards, anybody have a store credit card? Nobody?
Nope.
Nobody has a store credit card here? Like Best Buy? You have JCPenney too? What do you got?
Only for my points. Only for my points.
What do you got? JCPenney? What do you owe JCPenney?
Oh, nothing. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Because I was asking that question and I had a young lady there, I have Victoria's Secret. And she whispered, like, how much you owe? $10,000. I go, what? Man, your husband's happy. I mean, it's great. Listen, store credit cards, and I'll throw a little tidbit out there. If you owe a store credit card, if your monthly bill is $100, send them $25 a week instead of $100. They charge you daily compounded interest. They're charging you. So if you wait 30 days, that's 30 days worth of interest you're paying them. So if you pay them $100, they're pocketing $70, and they're using $30 to put towards your principal. Food for thought. So always pay monthly. That's a little tidbit I give the clients at all times. But because I'm a type A personality and I'm all over the place, this helps me focus. And why do I focus? How much money do I have to have in the bank?
$500,000.
24 months.
See, because a new recruit, they got a lot of energy and they like to talk about everything. They also try to sell. Sometimes they don't mean to be a drug dealer, but they're selling the drug instead of being a physician asking questions. This piece of paper, they don't have to memorize anything. They just need to know how to read from top to bottom. And if they could do that and focus, Patrick, the interviewer, 2 years in one mouth, they're gonna make stupid money. Anyway, let's get back to this because I'm all over the place, okay? Okay, next question. College education. Now, I'm just using these numbers as a gauge. Throughout the country, state schools are about $20,000 per year. Right now, today. Private schools are about $80,000 per year. I know because my oldest son's in college. But God, thank God, I pray every day and I kiss the ground he walks and I got a full ride. I pay for room and boards, 14 grand, but still, my hands don't shake as much, but it shakes. Okay? So if you have children and if you think it's a different number and you want them to go to college, use the number that you want. As a gauge, however, it's $20,000 per year for each year for 4 years. Private school, if you want your children to go to private school, it's about $80,000 per year for 4 years. I want you to do this for each of your children. If you feel you don't want them to go to college, that's okay, put zero. But I know if my children want to become a doctor, somebody said, my kid's he's going to do something else. They ain't going to college. I go, what if they want to be a doctor? You're going to deny them? I mean, you have to think from your heart because you want to always make sure your children are on a better level, correct? So use that as a gauge. So why don't you take a minute and write those numbers down for yourself. And folks, if you have this, feel free to write on the paper. It's okay. I got plenty more. I'm going to send you, I want you to write on the paper. Let me know when you're done. Okay? Let me know when you're done. I heard someone whispering, I ain't having no kids.
I said that in my head.
I know. I swear I can hear it, man. She said, I ain't having no kids. She thought she was thinking it, but I heard her. You scared me. That was loud. She's trying to red. I love it. Okay, emergency fund. When you're done. If you're not done, keep going. It's okay. Don't break that pen, Rico. I'm watching.
Zero.
It's all right. Hey, listen, you gotta be honest with yourself. That's okay. We're good. Aubrey's like, man, this is crazy, man. I know. This is too much going on, man. Kids are expensive. Hey, you got a cat. Hey. Let me know when you're done. That's all right. Okay, next question, emergency fund. Think about how much you made last year, cut that in half, put the number there. You should have 50% of what you made last year in the bank today. You should. If you don't have that, you're 3 paychecks, well actually 2 paychecks from being unemployed and being poorhouse. That's scary. Yes, sir.
So if that's the case, don't you think that person is living the wrong type of lifestyle?
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. See, you're a type A personality, you want to get into that? I'm not going to provide a solution. I'm the doctor. I got to ask questions. You see, you're trying to recruit. This is, and you don't mind me bugging Shane, but I'm using Shane as an example. He, right away, when I asked that question, this is natural, by the way. I'm not picking on you. Right away says, well, maybe, don't you think you could be living the wrong type of lifestyle? How I'm reading it as a peaceful person, he's trying to recruit the person you're trying to sell. That's where you're breaking from the formula. How much money you gotta have?
500,000. 24 months.
You gotta separate them. You can't wear the recruiting cap when you got your sales cap on. One cap at a time. I know where you're coming from, but naturally Shane came out and he's trying to say, well, don't you think he's working the wrong lifestyle? If that's you get my drift? We don't worry about that. Right now I'm worried about collecting answers. My objective is to practice, and they're going to critique me afterwards. I need honesty. I'm Patrick the interviewer, not Patrick the motivator. You see the difference? Yep. Thanks, man. I needed that. Thanks. You helped me out. But you guys see the difference, right? Okay, so now, next question. Funeral cost. I put there $10,000 for a reason. Because you're going to walk in the house, and they're going to tell you all kinds of crazy things, how much they think a funeral is going to cost. Or they're going to say, I can get cremated, it's $5,000, $7,000. Bottom line, a real funeral, I want you to think about this for a minute. How many of you have been to a funeral parlor? Man, I heard some crazy stories. I lost about 3 months ago, God rest his soul, I'm in Florida, and I got a phone call that my cousin's son got shot, and he died. Ex-Marine, I mean, he did 3 tours of Iraq, he's got three daughters, big guy, quiet, gentle giant, and he's in the car, and he's talking on the phone, he cut somebody off by mistake, and it was a 19-year-old kid with his girlfriend and a baby in the car. And while he's on the phone, he's like, man, I think I cut somebody off by mistake. So he stopped at the light, and he rolled down the window. He goes, hey, I'm sorry, it's my bad. The kid came out, walked around, and shot him. He leaned over into his glove compartment, took out a gun, and shot the other guy, and they both died. It was all on film, and it was all taped, you know, it was all on the phone, because he kept the tape of the person he was speaking with. And I said, Dan, and I'm in the middle of Kenny's office, I'm making a presentation, and I'm hearing, I get the text, I'm like, damn, you know. And I was upset and shocked, and I shared it with them, and one girl started crying. She goes, how can you just stand and do this? You know why? Because I'm thinking about the good things that I did, plus, excuse the French, I was a pain in the ass to make sure you had insurance. I know it sounds crazy, but it came out of my head. I'm glad that they were okay. And yeah, it hurt. I'm not done. When I left there, I come back, and I found out my uncle, 80 years old, never smoked a day in his life, had throat cancer. He died.
Wow.
Then, on top of it, the week after, this is crazy things happen. The week after that, I come home, my neighbor, 50 years old, had throat cancer and died. All back to back. I'm thinking, what the hell? And I was freaking out. But then, you know, it's like, I always think about the good things about people. And this is what happened. So I'm listening to a young lady there. My brother-in-law, my sister's husband, stage 3 cancer in his lymph nodes. They just did bone marrow. He's going to be fine, you know, fine. But it's kind of scary, you know. It's always the most curable when it's somebody else. When it's you, it's like, damn, my whole life changed. Am I getting you? So we got to start thinking about, you know what? This is wild, but things happen. But how do you react to it? Now, of course I'm upset. But I think about the positive and I keep going. In this position that we're in right now, they're getting upset. Their expectation as my brother and my sister-in-law is that I'm there to practice. And I'm sharing my personal life with you. I'm there to practice. Bottom line is, I'm there to try to make them uncomfortable. I can't sell them directly because they're avoiding me. I can't recruit them. I can't sell them. They got the knives pulled out already, ready to slice me up and give me an answer and shut me down if they think I'm trying to recruit or sell them. I'm here to make them uncomfortable. That is my job. Oh, that's so mean and tricky. So what? At least I know that in the end they got insurance and I'm okay. I can sleep good at night. But anyway, let's get back to it. Am I hitting home?
Yeah.
It's important. So let's get down here. So funeral costs. What does it cost really? I don't want you to think about this for a minute. I went to a funeral parlor, pretended I had anybody die in front of me and stuff, and I had to learn. Man, they put me through. I was freaked out. When I was a young kid, you know, Patrick asked me, what was the most you ever made in one big check? I go, when I first started, my first big check was $238,000. He said, what? 1985. Young kid, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. This guy gave me this check, single premium life, and I walked out of it thinking, sucker. I got in the car, and we didn't have those cell phones, so you could do selfies. Man, it would start snowing, and I'm sitting in the car, and I had the side view mirror, you know, the rear view mirror. And I'm pretending I had a camera, and I had a grin from here to here, and then I said, damn, I gotta hurry up and get, I was 45 minutes in the car of enjoying myself with that check. Then I said, man, if I lose this check, I'm in deep trouble. So I went back, I had to run back to the office to deposit it. I was scared, but I did go into a funeral parlor that day. How weird is that? After I deposit check, I wonder what it really costs to bury somebody. And I walked in the funeral parlor, and I hated when they used to call me young man. Man, I used to cringe. I didn't shave either, dude, so I didn't feel good. They used to go, young man. I go, call him young man. I just got annoyed at that, you know? It's like, to me, it was condescending. But anyway, so I go in the funeral parlor, and I told this guy, look, I have my aunt's dying, and we have insurance policy, and the guy's right ignoring me. And she's got a $500,000 policy. Oh, let me see if I can help you. Of course, it's horrible. Funeral parlors, it's a business. And if they know you're hurting, it hurts even more because they're going to try to take every dime from you. Anyway, you go in the funeral parlor, they show me a table, they gut you out, there's this thing called a trocar, never forget that word. They suck it out and then they fill you up with some stuff. Then you got to pay the makeup artist. You ever have surgery? You know, surgery, the surgeon gets paid, the anesthesiologist makes more than the surgeon. When you go to a funeral parlor, the director, the person who does all that stuff, what do they call it? No, the embalming person, right? They make more than funeral director. It's crazy. It's like sick. But anyway, they show me the whole thing. Then they bring me to show the coffins. They show me a wooden coffin, and they get the gold coffin, the platinum coffin. Then they got the worms aren't getting in that one. Then the other one's airtight, and it comes complete with Sirius radio and cable. $30,000 for that top cat. I said, what? That was 1985. That's sick. That's what it was. So they know that they're hurting with your feelings and you're freaking out. Then at the end, he shows me this bill for like $49,000. 1985. 49. I go, what? I go, listen, just give me the middle. That's too expensive. And they gave it to me, and I didn't have Staples back then, but I took that estimate that he gave me. I went to a printing shop and had it laminated in plastic. And I kept it in my bag, so when I did the F&A or the Papelito with someone, and I came across this question, I always had it handy. Especially when they said, oh, I could get away $5,000, $7,000. I was like, look, dude, this is an actual, I want them to know. Again, if they think they want to lowball me, I put the 10,000 there, so at least they can go below that. Food for thought. Make sense? No, whatever you think it costs to bury somebody, use your number. I'm just using 10,000 as a baseline. So take a minute and write it down. What you think it's going to cost if you die, what your family's going to pay to bury you, if that helps you. Okay? So he's like, I'm being cremated. I heard that. Me too, still 10 grand. Okay. Now what I'd like you to do is add number 1 through number 6 and put the total number 7. Number 1 through number 6 and put the total number 7. Lace is like, this is crazy. Oh man, you guys are good. How much money you got? Oh. Now, if we got invaded by Mexico or Canada, and we had 3 days to skip town. Well, let me wait. They're still adding up. You guys all added up? We're good? Yeah. Okay, I'll wait till you add up. I'm too fast. I'm on caffeine. I had coffee, now candy. I'm done. Let me know when you're done adding all that up. Use the calculators. I can't do that by hand. You guys are brave. I'm gonna take add up all that money in my pocket. Get the phones out and add all that up. When you're done, you can look up. Oh, you look? Relax, man. Everybody's like, damn, that's crazy money. Raquel's looking around like, I ain't having no kids. I ain't having no kids. I see you. Milan's mad. Milan's like ready to break her calculator. I know. So what I want you to do, if you got invaded by Mexico, Canada, number 8, how much cash can you put together? This is money that's in your savings, CD account, 401k. I mean, how much money can you put together in 3 days? Piggy bank, wherever it's at. Now here's another question, and I'm going to go to a side conversation. How many of you ever sold annuities? I will tell you the truth, I couldn't even say the word annuity when I started, let alone what the heck it did. And that's the truth. I couldn't say that. Now I say it fluently. You're like, oh yeah, right. You say it really well. It's go like synonym. I couldn't say the word. It just couldn't come out. But what I want you to do is understand one thing. Today, when you're working at a job, what kind of retirement plan do they give you?
401k.
401k. And every 5 years, people change jobs. That's just the way society set us up. And every 5 years when they leave, you're supposed to take your 401k with you, but some people say, I'm leaving it there because I'm making good interest. Here's the reality. When you're working at your old job, wherever the heck you work, you have the ability of accessing your funds in case of an emergency within 5 to 7 days, 7 to 10 days the latest. When you leave and you're no longer part of that group, in most cases it's going to take you 30 to 60 days to access your own money. Here's the other thing. You're supposedly getting good interest while you're working there. When you're no longer working there, they have no desire, no reason to take care of you. They're going to give you the interest, but it's going to get eaten up by increased administrative fees because you're no longer part of that club, part of your employer, part of that group. They don't care about you. So in your mind, you think that it's okay to leave it there, that's fine. How many of you left 401ks your old job? Anybody? Tia, I will tell you that if you left your 401k job, if you came over with me and we're hanging out with my sister, and we go visit my other sister who lives 3 hours away, and we're having a good time, you're there with your husband, my sister, the whole family, and then we're leaving back in the car, and if you realize halfway you left your wallet there with your credit cards and your money there, would you want to get it back? Do you want to turn around and go get it? Why?
It was worth something.
Okay, why the hell are you leaving your 401k your old job? Do you guys understand where I'm coming from? So I don't even know how to say the word annuity, but when I'm doing a Papelito and I get to that question about how much money do you have, I will throw in the question, by the way, do you have a 401k? Did you leave it there? You take it. And at least I want to be dangerous enough to understand the basics of a 401k and say to them, listen, these people in my office, they do this for over 100 years. And they can show you how to take the money out so you can hold it in your own personal account, you control your own money. Because leaving it there, it's like leaving your wallet in somebody's house 300 miles away. But you're gonna go back and get it. And I'll show you that, just let me take a picture of the statement if you have a copy, and then I'll come back and we'll show you how to address it. But right now, let's continue doing this, because their expectation is that I'm gonna do what? Practice. And they're gonna critique me in the end. If it's somebody else's house that I went to, Aubrey's house, his expectation of cutting his insurance in half. So I have to live by, what does it say?
What's in it for me?
How many days are you gonna do this? So I have to live by their expectations. His is that I'm cutting his insurance in half. So he's eager for me to go through this because he wants an answer. Raquel's thing is she has no insurance. She's like, all right, let me see what I might need. It's like doing a 23andMe thing. She wants a DNA thing. She wants to know how much she thinks she's worth. My brother and his wife, their expectations, I'm just here to practice. Either way, when I get through this, by the time I get to this question, do you think they're comfortable or uncomfortable?
Uncomfortable.
Heck yeah, he started like a light bulb. Damn, this is scary. He's starting to think. Just like I'm sitting here reading Raquel's, I'm reading her mind. This is crazy, this number. I heard it, I'm not having any kids. I can hear her. Her lips aren't moving, but I can read what she's saying. They're uncomfortable. And that's okay. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to sell insurance and I want to do it right. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So, once you got number 8, this is what I want you to do. Take number 7, subtract number 8, and I want you to put the total in the bottom. Take number 7, subtract number 8, and put the total in the bottom. Take number 7, subtract number 8, and put the total in the bottom. Lance threw his paper away.
He's got 6 kids.
Oh, God. God bless you. It's like Chris and Mary in San Diego.
Yeah.
He said it. He just had a 6th kid. You're out of your mind. But he's happy. I go, you gotta be happy. I can handle 2. When I get to the 3rd, it becomes a challenge. And I can always toss back and forth. But when you have 3, you're like, oh my God. Hello, Mom, Dad, come over. I need your help. Come babysit. It's rough. God bless you, man. You look good. You look all right. That's all right. So when you get to the bottom number, what I want you to do is flip the piece of paper over. I want you to write that bottom number way across horizontally, real big, and then circle it. I mean, so I can see it from back here because I can't see with my glasses, so I need to be able to see it from way back here. So flip your paper over and write it in big, and I want you to circle it. Everybody, come on, everyone's got to do this. I want to see it from across the street. You need paper? I'll give you paper here. Who doesn't have a blank paper? I need to see it from across the street. Everyone have a paper? If you don't, let me know. Real big, and then lay it right in front of you. I want you to look at it. Jerry's like, I don't want to do it. Okay, put it right in front of you. That's not big enough.